Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Saw Rias Die, and she came back in his boosted gear movie. Before we start, please go support Huankun 124,124 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Issei, after defeating Trihexa, tries to lead a normal life with his women, but Rias dies under strange circumstances and Issei is forgotten by the others. I did this because I wanted to innovate a bit since I was tired of Issei always being the one to die. Chapter 1, I Will Never Leave You. We see a chestnut-haired man in a room, holding a redhead's hand, and crying, telling her not to leave him, while other women had their heads down. Ria's devil voice, Issei, thank you for being with me until the end. Issei crying, don't laugh, we can continue. Ria's weak voice, I'm leaving now Issei, my Issei girls take care of him. All yes, President, and then Rias monitor starts to malfunction. Issei screams for a nurse. He tells the others, but they already know what's going to happen. And then they hear the sound no one wants to hear, the sound of the monitor shutting down. Issei screams. Zeoticus tries to comfort him. Issei cries, snuggled up to his beloved, and says through his tears, Rias, don't leave me. But he hears a faint voice saying, my Issei, I will never leave you, my little pawn. Chapter 2, I Will Take My Revenge. Issei's POV, 2 months have passed since the death of my beloved Rias. The pain caused me to fall, but I was healed, but to make matters worse, even though I tried to continue the way Rias wanted, they left me for others. Guys, I mean, who would want to be with a pathetic loser? I currently live in the house the factions gave me. And I live with my parents and Rias' parents because I say that my eternal wife will be Rias. Everyone thinks I'm crazy because I've rejected beautiful women who have asked for my hand in marriage, but for me, there's no woman more beautiful than my Rias. Fin Pav Is. Rias POV. Since I died, I've been in purgatory because that's what comes after death and there's nothing else. I clarify that this is just entertainment and doesn't seek to offend anyone, so don't take it to heart. Okay, let's continue. I'm so bored because I saw how those bitches cheated on my Issei and he remained faithful to me despite everything. It made me happy. I made a decision to go back to my Issei and I had to escape. I tried for months, but they always caught me. Until one day I asked how I could get out and they told me I could leave as a guardian spirit. I said Issei's and they agreed, and I was overjoyed. They gave me the opportunity. And I took off. My plan was to get into the booster gear so I could later take over a body. End of Rias POV. Start of normal POV. We see the redhead already in the human world since the traitors lived there. Rias POV. I will have my revenge, bitches. I will have my revenge. You swore to me that you would take care of my Issei. And you forgot him. You will pay me. First I went to Akeno's. I thought I'd find her whoring, but I was very surprised to find her crying. I went closer to listen, and what I heard left me stunned. It was Akeno crying, why did I leave my Issei and replace him with another guy, who to top it all off cheated on me in my own house? Rias whispering, you bore slut. Akeno scared, who's there? Rias ghostly voice, boo, the one you made a promise to. Boo, Akeno scared, I've made many promises to many people, who are you? Rias ghostly voice, to whom you made the most important promise of your life, boo hoo hoo. Akeno scared, who the hell are you? Rias guttural scream, I'm the one who rescued you. Akeno scared, don't mess with me, I'm sad and sorry. Ria's ghostly voice, you don't look like a corner bore, someone trusted you. Akeno scared, if it's Issei, I'm sorry, he was only thinking about Rias. And we were bored. Ria's guttural voice, shut up bitch, at least he was faithful to her. And he began to levitate things, making Akeno scream like a little girl. He broke the plates, making quite deep cuts, and so it was with each one of them, and each one of them fared worse. Rias POV, read this in a manic voice. Ha ha ha, it was music to my ears to hear those bitches scream. I was kind and they deserve more. Ha 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 ha, it was so beautiful to hear those inept girls scream. They were so brave. To leave my Issei lying there, well now they'll have to deal with it. Ha ha ha, those who mess with Issei mess with me. End of Rias POV. Rias was flying peacefully and saw Issei sleeping. Ria's sick voice, Issei, excuse me, you look so cute. Now we'll be together forever, my little pawn. It's a shame I can't please you, my little pawn. Rias quickly threw herself at Issei's hand and entered it. She signed a contract with Drake to become one with Issei so they wouldn't be separated. 3 I've returned. Rias POV, I entered Issei's booster gear and as I was saying I signed a contract to be with him forever. So now I'm a dragon. And I can take on a physical form as a manifestation of the booster gear, but I could still move my ghostly body. It felt so good. I put on my human body. I didn't mind being naked since I was with my Issei after so long. I started crying tears of joy because finally after so long we were together. I tore his shirt and left him without it. I just wanted to feel him better. Don't judge me, but I wanted to feel him better. I held him with my arms and legs. I didn't want to let go. I wanted him for myself and no one else. Already clinging to him. I heard him say, half asleep. Issei asleep, Rias, I miss you so much. What I would give to have you by my side and feel you one last time. At that moment I changed his position and put him on my breasts so he could use them as a pillow. I fell asleep instantly. Time skip 8 a.m. We see in a beautiful room. And in a large bed a brunette lying on his back. Being comfortably embraced by a naked redhead barely covered with a blanket. Issei woke up and saw Ria's silhouette and the first thing he said was, Issei surprised, well I didn't drink yesterday and as far as I know I'm alive. Rias half asleep says, look Issei you're still alive and it's not a dream. Rias gets on top of him revealing everything. Issei blushes. And looks away. Rias is surprised and says, sadly, Issei you don't think I'm pretty anymore. You know everything I fought for to be by your side. Issei, confused, well then. Ria's calm voice, I know I understand. I know many sluts have worn red wigs and blue contact lenses and tried to seduce you. Issei froze and said nervously, Issei Rias you are my Rias my Rias. You would only know that if you observed me. Forgive me if I doubted you. Crying. Rias in a wicked voice, look Issei is there anything you need to authenticate me? Issei doubtful and what is it? Rias touch my chest Issei please Issei Rias because. Ria's sad kawaii voice, Issei, why am I no longer attractive to you, my Issei? You know everything I went through to come back to your side. Issei, nervous voice, it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I think I should let you rest a little and I love your naked body. But for now, make yourself comfortable, Rias. Note, Rias already explained the pact to him. Rias begging and almost crying, please, Issei, touch me a little. Issei embarrassed, Rias, I love you, but I feel bad for you leaving me. That's why I'm holding back and I don't want to look like a pervert. Ria's sad voice, I know I'm not attractive to you anymore, I'll leave. Issei no and I'll prove to you that I like you. Ria's wicked voice, come here. And Issei grabs her and like a beast. Begins to fondle her breasts. Affectionately. And Rias began to blate a little. Issei excited, Rias I like you a lot. Sorry for being so abrupt. It's just that it's been a long time since well. You know I've never done this before. Rias excited, my Issei touch whatever you want my Issei. You know how much I missed you. Look I felt your pain when. Those bitches left you but now please yourself, sweetheart. Issei excited with your permission. Rias Alza. Issei started sucking Ria's breasts hungrily. There was a lot of groping, but when they were about to start. The act Drake stopped them saying. That pregnancy would be dangerous. They understood and stopped but. Issei's anger was evident at not being able to take the plunge. Think about it, being on the verge of action and being stopped, that's a nasty blow. Ria's sad voice, Issei I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to, I'm really sorry. Issei, it's okay, beautiful, as long as you're by my side, that's more than enough for me Rias. Rias cries because she feels powerless, but Issei hugs her and they show their affection. Rias puts on a robe and goes downstairs, and everyone is stunned to see the redhead holding hands with Issei. A normal day and the beginning of a search. We see some men and women in a beautiful house, acting as if they had seen a dead body because they literally saw it. And we're saying, Issei scared, Venelana-san this coffee isn't adulterated, right? Venelana scared, no I don't think so. Sirzechs who was with them was pale, along with Lord Gremory. And Issei's father, Rias spoke in the most casual way. Rias, hi mom, hi dad, it's been a while hasn't it? Venelana Lord Gremory mipped to Issei, but how? An explanation later. And a very cheesy meeting afterwards. Rias was calmly drinking coffee. With her family, Sirzechs, Rias and what exactly do you need? Rias, look brother I need dragon meat because of the contract I made with Drake. Now to have a body it has to be dragon meat and it takes a long time to find. Venelana, so you need the same thing Issei needs. Rias in conclusion if. Venelana Issei you shouldn't go out. To school Issei surprised yes. It's true I'm leaving. Rias no Issei we're leaving, and she vanishes and enters the booster gear. Everyone is surprised, but Rias comes out again. And says sheepishly, Mother-in-law, could you lend me some panties and a bra? I don't want to be without anything underneath. I'll be in my soul form, but when I take on a human body, I don't want to be without anything underneath, it would be weird. They quickly hand her underwear, the panties fit her well. But the bra was too tight since her bust had grown quite a bit. I don't know why I'm describing this, but anyway, Rias went inside and Issei rushed out. With a piece of bread in his mouth, a very funny scene to be honest, Issei walked calmly, very happy while Rias spoke to him. And Issei answered her mentally. They were talking about going for a drink. But Issei saw that the path he always used was blocked, and they decided to take another path. He was walking calmly along the other path, but he had to pass by some buildings full of university students. Issei was walking along peacefully until Rias screamed. Rias shouting, Issei, run back. Issei, why? Rias shouting, just do it and don't question me. Issei resigned, okay. And he started running like crazy to get out of that university campus, and just when Issei was far from a building, a beautiful black-haired woman, or what was left of that beautiful woman, appeared. That was Akeno Himejima, the former queen of Rias Gremory, who was in a severe depression for having abandoned the love of her life and replaced him with an Ivesel who only used her to show off. Author, that's what you get for being a slut. Anyway, let's continue, Akeno shouted to him in a worn-out voice. Akeno, Issei, don't leave me, I'm sorry, come back to my side. Issei, already far away, was about to turn around. But Rias moved his head. So he wouldn't turn around. Issei managed to get out, although Akeno chased after him. Just seconds later, he managed to get out. Issei, tired. Rias, I see, that drug addict chased me. Rias, serious, that drug addict was Akeno. Issei, he's frozen, meanwhile with Akeno's POV. Akeno. My Issei, don't leave me because I regret it, you damn son of a bitch. I should have supported you in your bad moment and instead I left you like an inept fool. I am the queen of bores, until he realized it, but what's the point now? It's too late. When Issei arrived at school, many girls desired him and clung to him. They had seen that the boy they thought was a pig was actually a classy man, blamed by Matsuda and Mathama for being a pervert when he wasn't. Rias kept them at bay ever since she became close to him. She became very jealous, not to the point of being a Yandere, but very much so. Issei lived happily at school with Rias by his side, but what he didn't know was that he was being watched by a white-haired loli with very long hair that covered her beautiful golden eyes, which no longer held life since she abandoned her Issei for another who deceived her in a very blatant way. Kaneko was informed by Akeno that Issei was happy and that this was her chance to win him back. In the classroom, Issei felt watched by the whole class, making a plan to recover. We meet in a classroom, nothing special, just a normal room, and a brunette is writing peacefully, but something is bothering him. He feels like someone is staring at him so intensely it seems like they're cutting his throat with their gaze. His dragon instincts put him on alert. So Issei says to Rias, frightened. Issei nervously, Rias, could you do me a favor? Rias, seriously, relax, stay calm, I know we are one being, I know perfectly well what I have to do. Issei, grateful, okay. We see a redhead moving around the entire room like a soul, only being seen by Issei. And I arrived at the last chair in the row of the chestnut-haired chair where a beautiful white-haired woman sat, or what was left of her. Since now she was a damn lunatic, I'll describe her to you. Kaneko is taller and has a better body, more breasts. And now her precious white hair is gone, a damn mountain of filth, since from being white as snow it turned gray as cigarette smoke. Now on her fingers are sharp, jagged nails that look like the claws of a rabid cat. With her long, razor-sharp nails, she carved the phrase Issei, forgive me, into the wood of the chair over and over again with a maniacal face. This idiot thinks that by writing this her Issei will come back. How stupid. Give this bitch a reality. Rias goes to where Kaneko is and gives her a super mega headbutt that almost knocks her head off and says in a guttural voice that resonates throughout her skull. Rias' guttural voice, don't watch what belongs to me, you damn bitch, you're not worthy to look at it with your damn boar eyes. Since you left him, you lost all right to be with him, you damn mangy shitty cat. And he gives her another bald spot. And Rias leaves, leaving Kaneko dizzy and even more psychologically messed up. But this Kaneko is smart because she did recognize her voice. And Kaneko whispered, Devil whisper, Butchu, was that you? I have to tell the others. Class ends and Issei leaves calmly but with a noticeably sad face, as he didn't like seeing Akeno in such a deplorable state. He told her he felt bad for her being depressed and that it was fair she had dumped him, who would want to be with a shitty depressed person. But Rias said coldly, Rias, those bitches should have supported you in your bad time and not left you as your wives. That was their duty. Issei designated, you think so if you say so. Author, readers, leave your opinion if you think what Rias says is true. Or if you think the girls did the right thing by leaving him, leave it, I want to hear it. XD. Issei asked Rias if she wanted to go get something to eat. But Rias said in a cold but sad voice, "Look Issei, we have to be careful since I saw those bitches looking for you, so we can't be careful. Issei, I understand when we arrive. We'll cook together." Rias happy, yes my love. The two laughed and walked together. While with the boars, I mean the ex-Gremory clan. XD. They were in Akeno's apartment. And they were talking. How to recover it. Akeno, so what do you propose? Kaneko, let's kidnap them. Zenovia, let's grape him and bring home one of his children to take care of. Rosswise, lingerie. Irina, yeah, what Ross said. Akeno, well no idiots, not everything is about Hex, that's what drove us away from Issei's love. We're all chaste in everything, but desire drove us apart. All don't remind us. Akeno, cheerful voice, I have an idea. All, and which one is it? Akeno, look ladies, what we have to do is lure those guys to the same place, and Issei too, and give them such a waterfall that they'll regret having tricked us and causing us to leave our Issei. Everyone took hands and congratulated Akeno on her great plan, but Kaneko. Kaneko, cold voice. Look, it's easier said than done since it seems Rias' spirit or something of her is with Issei and won't let us get near him. Everyone was frozen in shock. And Kaneko proceeded to recount what happened. Each of them then proceeded to share their frightened experiences, as they were very similar. While with Issei and Rias, they were happily cooking and laughing at home, starting the plan and a mysterious summons. We see a redhead and a brunette happily cooking in a peaceful house, unaware that they were being followed by a white-haired girl just as they were about to reach the house. Rias intervened and explained to Issei that someone was following them. Issei understood as Rias didn't lie. And being part of the boosted gear, she possessed very strong instincts. Issei becomes alert. But in the distance, he sees a white-haired girl eating a sweet, whichever one you can imagine, XD. And she says coldly, "Kaneko, senpai will be mine, only mine." And she approached the windows to observe and saw Issei alone. That disconcerted her since she heard a voice like Rias but calmer. Kaneko takes out her phone and said while calling Akeno. Kaneko, cold voice. Akeno senpai is already in position, throw the stone. Akeno, serious. Okay, Pun throws a rock with a piece of paper wrapped around it with rubber bands. The paper breaks the window. Rias knocks Issei to the ground while in his mind he screams. Rias agitated, watch out. At that moment the rock, which was traveling at such speed that it shattered the kitchen sink with such ferocity that it was heard throughout the house. Issei, scared, what is this? Issei grabs the rock, peels off the paper and nervously reads what the letter said. Letter Issei, Hyoudou, you are expected in one of the hangars at the dock, to be specific on the 1st at 5 p.m. And in a very strong, very fresh red ink that looked like blood. It said, if you don't come, your family will die, HOISTE. Issei froze, and told Rias he would go but that she shouldn't go out all day, since for the moment it was better if they believed she was dead so they wouldn't mess with his weakness, which was Rias. And her family, Issei believed this was an attack by some enemies of the factions. Which is why he wouldn't say anything since he didn't want to. That caused a commotion. While with the boars, I mean Rias' ex-entourage XD. We see them all gathering the guys in a park with this phrase that was music to their ears. We'll give you our virginity in a hardcore threesome. Those guys arrive all fired up and ready for action, you know what I mean. But they were in for a big surprise when Kaneko, at great speed, hits them with a mallet, knocking them out instantly. And we see Kaneko carrying them away in hiking backpacks along with the other girls with sick faces. On their way to the piers. Akeno, sick voice. Ara, those sons of bitches will see for making us change our Issei. All you'll see. Time jump 5 p.m. We see in an abandoned warehouse of a dock. Some kids woke up dizzy and confused. But they almost died when they saw Kaneko with brass knuckles. Akeno with a bat studded with nails. Zenovia with whips. Irina with matches, bleach, and cigarettes. Rosswise with a sharp machete. And Asia with nunchucks. They didn't speak because they knew what would happen to them for messing with Issei's women, so they better pray those guys won't survive. And then minutes passed. From an ancient beating and girly screams, a certain brunette arrived who, upon seeing the scene, was horrified and shouted, what's going on here? Akeno's sick voice, Issei, we're getting your love back, ha 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 ha, the others just laughed. But Issei, like a bullet, shatters their weapons. He sits them down, heals them, puts them to sleep, and casts a spell on them so they won't remember anything. Then he leaves them there and says, in a cold voice, Issei, cold voice, there you have your boyfriends. If you're going to play 50 Shades, try to do it gently XD. Well, I'll go, Issei walks away, but Akeno rushes to hug him. But a wind blows it away so hard that it crashes into a wall, breaking it. That was Rias who said, in Issei's mind in a supernatural voice, XD but kawaii. Rias, my love, don't touch Rias, love bitches, only Rias can touch it XD. Ever since she was a dragon, she was very jealous and didn't allow any woman other than her mother or Issei's mother to touch her. Akeno, scared, Issei, what happened to you? Issei, well, it's the power of the dragon, I can't control it much anymore, and that's it. Akeno, cheerfully, Issei, you'll come back to my side, can we go for a coffee? Issei, cold voice, no thanks, I'm very busy. Later. Ross, yes, Irina, please. Asia, please. Kaneko, please. Zenobia, let's have Hex, please, XD-V. Issei, I shouldn't go play Minecraft right now, V. He's leaving because Minecraft and Willerks are important XD. But Akeno touches her, Rias was about to attack her. But Issei calms down and says to the others, Issei, cold voice, don't touch me. Akeno hesitantly, why? Issei, nervously, I have coronavirus, it's dangerous to keep your distance. Akeno, I don't believe you. And Issei runs like a bullet. Akeno doubtful, where did he go? Zenobia clarifying, look, he went that way, run, and they start chasing him. Issei tired, oh here we go again XD. And he started running, looking for reasons and analyzing. We see a certain chestnut tree running. Like a madman, and some girls who looked like drug addicts were chasing him. Rias, look Issei, I'll open a magic circle so we can fly away. Issei, okay thanks Rias. Pun, the magic circle. Opens, Issei jumps in seconds Akeno takes off his jacket for trying to grab him. Issei emerges unharmed. He comes out of the portal and says tiredly, phew, I'm safe thanks Rias, we almost got caught. And Rias, by the way, where does the portal lead? Rias said, confused but smiling. Issei, well, to be honest, I don't know. The truth is, I did it so fast that I didn't even calculate the location. Issei looks up to check where he is and sees with astonishment and says nervously, Rai, as you teleported us to a neighborhood full of lingerie shops. Rias replies, embarrassed but nervous. Issei, no, don't misunderstand me. I sent the location to nowhere, I'm really sorry. Issei, relax Rias, I know you don't have to be specific or anything. I know how you feel, we're one, remember. And since we're here, I'll ask you. Do you want me to buy you something? He said that last part blushing like a tomato. Rias embarrassed, well Issei, if it's not too much trouble, could you give me a bra? Issei, embarrassed, fine, just tell me your size or whatever women wear to put that on. Rias, Issei, just ask for the biggest size and that's it. I mean, go to the bra section and take the size that's bigger. This is my approximate measurement. Issei, smiling, yes teacher, laugh, hee. Rias sarcastically laughing, watch out for Mr. Comedy lol. Well, let's continue. We see a very calm brunette buying some large bras, but he didn't know he was being watched by a brunette with a confused face. That was Eika, and she was thinking, what the hell is Issei doing in a lingerie shop buying bras? Especially since the girls weren't supposed to have dumped him because of the depression caused by Rias' death. Could it be that he got back with one of them? But that bra doesn't fit. Even Akeno-senpai doesn't have a bust that big. It's strange why Issei would need a bra that big. I need to tell the others about this. Issei paid and left with some bras. In some bags. Rias happily, thank you Issei. I can't wait to try them on, my Issei. Issei cheerful, would you like to have a little coffee? Rias cheerful, I'd love to, but we can't because those bitches will follow us relentlessly. Issei sad, okay, but at least we can be together. Rias crying and happy, Issei, what lovely words. The two laugh, Issei opens a magic circle and they leave. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, someone bangs furiously on Akeno's apartment door. She opens it quickly. She was with the others in the dining room. Eika spoke breathlessly. Akeno-senpai, I saw Issei. They all look like you're going to die. Akeno exalted, where Eika, where she said this while grabbing her. Eika startled in a lingerie shop. Akeno said doubtfully, you're messing with us. Eika no, and look, she takes out her phone and shows him a blurry picture of Issei. Akeno snatches it, looks at it and says, I know where that store is, but just as Eika was about to leave, she said, Akeno-senpai waits. Akeno doubtful yes, Aka. Issei bought some plus-size bras. Akeno is stunned, wondering why Issei needed extra-large bras. They all start running. Leaving Aka alone, she stares in astonishment at the walls of her apartment. They were covered with photos of Issei. Aka observes Akeno's unhealthy love and leaves in fear, knowing that she had ruined everything since Akeno and the others were damned Yanderes. Kaneko was in the back, thinking about everything. Kaneko's POV. Let's see, the only one that bra could fit is Rias. Not even Akeno has ones that thick and big, and besides, the colors I can see in the bag are black, purple, red, and pink, the colors Rias used to wear. That can't be a damn coincidence. It's clear now Rias is alive. I don't know how, but I'll reveal it. Analyzing and discovering evidence. We see a redhead and a brunette in a nice room thinking about things. In the living room, the faction leaders were asking questions and they just wanted some peace and quiet. They went downstairs and everyone was asking questions. Issei asks for order and Rias explains. An explanation I don't intend to give for now. Well, Rias, after explaining how crazy she is going to close the windows. And she says, now more seriously, I'm doing this because I don't want the boars to find out I'm alive again. Everyone is stunned because Rias' eyes had turned a deep green, and in those eyes a bestial and dangerous rage was evident. But Akeno's stupid father says, "Who are you referring to with the boars?" And Rias answers him, filled with anger and with a voice that sounded like a dragon's roar. Well, that damn boar, that slut of a daughter of yours and the others, don't be an idiot. You know your daughter is a damn boar who forgot about my Issei instead of helping him. And left him sad. I hate your daughter and the others, I hope they die. They knew Issei was sick and instead of helping him, they abandoned him and replaced him with others, damn bitches. So why are you asking such a stupid question? You'd be better off keeping quiet. I don't want anyone to mention them. I don't want anyone to tell those boars who think they're so high and mighty that I'm alive because I don't want to share my Issei. I want him for myself, you hear? I won't hesitate to kill anyone I find. Is that clear? Everyone nods nervously and Rias, marking her territory as she says. Grabs Issei and starts kissing his neck, leaving red hickeys. Rias lets go and says seriously, "Any other questions?" And Vale, the leader of the fallen angels, speaks. Rias que necesitas para tomar un cupo más claro. Rias replies seriously. The same thing I need, Issei, dragon meat now. Vale, okay. They ate and talked for a while until the other leaders left, and then Rias and Issei went to sleep peacefully. Issei fell asleep. And Rias hugged him. Issei, already asleep and unconscious, unintentionally began to affectionately touch her butt. Rias was surprised but let him. She clung to him more tightly and like a hungry animal. She removed her panties, giving Issei free rein to give her affection. You know the kind. Issei affectionately touched her butt. Rias was silent. And I heard some kind words. How I would love to become one with Rias. I love her so much and I want to make her happy forever. Rias hugs him and says, "My lovely Issei, I will always be by your side. My lovely Issei, the only thing that torments me is that I can't join you forever, but I swear I will please you." So she clings to Issei with even more affection, her legs wrapped tightly around him, and Issei holds her by the hips. They press their foreheads together and fall asleep. The next morning, we see a redhead and a brunette hugging. Rias gets up and half asleep looks at the clock and says, waking up suddenly, "Issei, it's almost 8 o'clock, wake up." Issei wakes up in seconds. He gets dressed in seconds, gets into the booster gear and they pop out, but what he didn't know was that a white-haired girl was watching him from afar. Kaneko's POV, from what I can see, Senpai is running late, but oh well, today I'll find out that Rias is alive. And still by your side. Issei enters the room like a bullet and Kaneko watches, while carving with a sharp knife. The name Issei Mio was on his table. Kaneko's POV. Haber, Issei seems calm and happy and I can smell a woman from here. This doesn't smell right. After class, Kaneko followed Issei. Issei was calm. But Rias spoke, she said. Seriously? Issei, they're following us and to be precise, Kaneko. I'll teleport you home so you don't bother me. Issei, okay. And then a magic circle appears and Rias makes Issei jump, and he jumps. But from the jump, something almost imperceptible falls from Issei's head. And that was a long red hair. Kaneko grabs it as soon as it falls to the grass. And she says, surprised, "I knew it and this is the proof I needed. Ha, I'll show it to the others and they'll see. Time skip 5 p.m. We see a white-haired woman playing. That door was Akeno's door. She opens it and Kaneko enters and says in a cold voice, "Hey Akeno, look at the ultimate test." Akeno confused which one. Kaneko quickly pulls the beautiful red hair out of a small box where she had kept it, and says in an affirmative voice, "There's a hair of Rias." Akeno replies hesitantly, "Where the hell did you get that from and how do you know it's Rias?" Kaneko responds in an affirmative voice. Issei dropped it and he had more on his clothes, and it was imbued with the scent of Rias' perfume. Akeno said, already in shock, "Does that mean Rias is still alive? And the one who bothered us a few weeks ago was Rias, and what's preventing us from getting close to Issei is Rias." Kaneko. "Exactly, my dear Akeno, everything fits now. The bras were for Rias." Akeno replies in a more confused voice, "But how did she manage to take on a human form?" Kaneko, "I think I know how she made a contract with the booster gear to have a temporary dragon body. Since there wouldn't be any more dragon flesh left because of Issei, she could hide her presence by blending it with Issei's." Akeno was astonished, since when was she so clever? She deciphered something so complex in seconds. Just then the others who had overheard everything arrived through the door, trying to get closer. We see some girls in a dining room putting 2 and 2 together and making a plan to get closer to Issei. Zenovia, let's kidnap him. Irina, let's grape him. Rosswise, well, if what Kaneko-san says is true, we have to approach him little by little, and I could help along with Kaneko-san since we're the only ones left in the morning shift. Note, in this fic, Kuoh Academy is different because there were so many students. 2 shifts were opened. 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoons. And the entourage was divided, that's why they drifted apart. But anyway, that's a story for another time, but let's continue. The plan they came up with was for Rosswise to become Issei's teacher again so they could work together and talk. And everything would be resolved, so the plans began. First, Rosswise went to the principal and asked for permission to be the principal of Issei's class. He agreed since Rosswise was a teacher who wasn't currently working. And so he put her to work there the next morning. Issei stood up calmly, as did Rias, but she had a bad feeling. She didn't say anything though and just got dressed and put on her booster gear. Issei told her, "Rias, I have a bad feeling. I don't know, I woke up feeling something strange today." Issei said that he would too, but that it surely wouldn't be anything, and they went to school. Upon arriving at the classroom, the principal informed them that Rosswise would now be their new teacher and grade director, Rias. I knew it. That bitch wants to take Issei from me, but I won't let her." Issei thought wearily, "What will Rias have to wait for me today? I want to leave early so I can relax." Rias replied, "Me too, but don't worry, we'll rest at home too." Everything was normal until they were given a job to do in pairs. And they couldn't choose the men, only the women. The worst torture for you and your friends, lol. Anyway, let's continue. She, along with Issei, Kaneko, and Rias, thought, "So this is your plan, bitch, but I won't let you have it." Kaneko sat next to Issei, and all she did was watch. She tried to touch Issei, but Rias used a gust of wind to knock her hand away. Kaneko confirmed this, and to relieve stress, Issei asked her, "Hey Taoju-chan, how are things going with your partner?" Kaneko felt a pang in her chest when he called her by her last name. Kaneko replied, "Sadly, he replaced me with someone else." Issei calmly replies, "Ah, I see. He didn't know what he was doing. Don't worry, there will be others. He'll regret it, so don't get upset." Kaneko was elated by those beautiful words. Her heart ached as she understood the beautiful man she had forgotten and thrown away. They finished the job very quickly and Rosswise let them go, she thought. "Kaneko, do your job and don't screw it up." They sat on the floor next to the hall. And Issei asked, "Taoju-san, did you dye your hair?" Kaneko replies, "It's not dirty, please don't call me Taoju, call me by my name." Issei replied, now more seriously, "No, we're not as close as we used to be, and well, it's impolite." Kaneko didn't know what to do anymore, and let it out in a tearful voice. "Issei, I'm so sorry, I forgot you because I wasn't ready. I left you for someone who only wanted to see me as a game, and I was never by your side like you were with me. Please give me another chance, or at least let me be your servant." Or at least your friend, let me start over. Issei affectionately strokes her head and begins to caress her tenderly. She is surprised, and in a weak sob she said thank you senpai. She felt so comfortable that she brought out her cat ears and tail and began to purr. Kaneko, now much calmer, lay down on his lap and continued purring. Rias was angry, but Issei kept telling her to leave her alone, offering an apology and starting from scratch. A certain white-haired girl was lying on the lap of a chestnut-haired man, emitting a bestial purr, for the first time in a long time she was happy. Rias thought, "This bitch abandoned you and this is how you treat her." But Issei replied, "Relax, I only love you. Rias, let's leave her alone." The bell rang and Issei left, leaving her alone, but Kaneko took his arm and gave him a tight hug, crying, "Issei-senpai, I'm so sorry, please forgive me for leaving you." Issei breaks free and says seriously, "I forgive you, but if you'll excuse me, Kaneko, I have to go." And he leaves, but Kaneko runs back to his side and grabs his shoulder. Even though Rias wants to let go, she clings on with her nails, which look like claws. Issei tells her he's hurting her. Rias can't take it anymore and lets go with a shove, but Kaneko clings on again, this time even tighter, and Issei has to accept having a lowly clinging to him. She seems very happy, too happy. Roswis was consumed with jealousy. Kaneko had grown closer to Issei, and she could win him back and take him away from the others. During recess, Issei sat down to eat alone, accompanied only by Rias, whom only he could see. Rias and Issei laughed at silly things. He ate his dinner quietly as always, enjoying the food Rias lovingly prepared for him. Issei mentally said to Rias, "Rias, this food is delicious, thank you." Rias hugged him. Everything was peaceful until he noticed someone sit down next to him. Issei looks and sees that it was Kaneko. He greeted her, but Rias thought, "This vixen wants it and I'll reveal what she is." She ate next to him and said sadly, "Senpai, I'm sorry I didn't support you. And I left you, I'm sorry." Issei, now calmer, hugged her and began cleaning her gray hair until it was white again. Kaneko was surprised, and Issei happily said, "Do you want to be my friend?" Kaneko started to cry and said, "Thank you so much, I won't let you down." And the two hugged each other under Roswise's tearful gaze. It creates a mess. Kaneko was crying while being hugged, but Rias was about to explode. A vein inside her was throbbing, ready to burst, because a vixen was touching what was most precious to her, her Issei. And Issei mentally told her, "Rias, calm down, relax, I only want you because you didn't forget me." And Rias grabs him and says seriously, "I know that, but I don't want anyone to hurt you again." Issei smiled and they both laughed inwardly. But during the break, Kaneko never wanted to leave Issei's side. Inside, Kaneko thought, "He will be mine, but now I have to find out if Rias is alive or not." Issei ate with Kaneko. While Rias was acting like an animal, she was very jealous and didn't like any woman's touching her. Issei could barely calm her down after class. Issei walked calmly talking to Rias, and he happily said, "Hey Rias, I'll give you a surprise to make our relationship more official." And Rias says, already knowing what it is, "Will you do it?" And Issei happily says, "Yes, yes, you are my partner and that's what I want to do." And Rias says while hugging him, "Issei, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me." They both laugh, and we see Issei enter a luxury jewelry store. But what he didn't know was that he was being watched by a beautiful brunette, or what was left of her. You might wonder what she looks like. Well, like this. She walks around hunched over all the time. Her hair is so long it covers her eyes. She's thinner because she doesn't even have an appetite. She always wears her university uniform, but it's very messy. She has dark circles under her eyes and is too pale. She looks sick, and her nails are too long. And with that cleared up, let's continue, Akeno said while observing with binoculars. What is Issei doing in a jewelry store, and such an expensive one at that? And Kaneko said with a face like Death Note L. Well, it's very simple, he's buying engagement rings. And Akeno said, for whom exactly is it? And Kaneko replies, for Rias. This is the ultimate proof that Rias is alive. And Akeno sensed something and left the bush where she was hiding with Kaneko and screamed, making a fuss. You're not going to take it from me, you're the one who should be buying the rings, not you. Kaneko goes out to try to stop her. But Akeno was a Vala. And just as Issei was about to pay for the rings, Rias shouts, "Issei no, get down." An awkward date and marking territory. Rias makes Issei come downstairs, but then Akeno enters, grabs him and says, "Hello, sweetheart, sorry I'm late. Are you shopping yet? How cute." Issei didn't know what to do, his mind went blank, but Rias calmly tells him, "Don't worry, Issei, I'll take care of it." Then Rias, in her spirit form, whispers in a guttural voice like a dragon's, "Get off me, you damn bore. That ring is for me, you damn bitch, get off me." It left Issei's ears ringing and almost made them bled. Issei paid for the rings since he didn't want to make a scene. And Akeno left with him holding his hand. To top it all off, he had Rias' ring. In his hand, Rias was moaning she wanted her ring back. Issei could barely calm her down. And Akeno, as if nothing was wrong, said, "Well, Issei, we bought the rings. Now where are you taking me?" But Issei, trying to break free, said, "Well, Heimjima-san, I have to go home. My parents are waiting for me." But Akeno said flirtatiously, "Ara Issei, why can't I go with you? You already gave me a ring, even though you know I prefer the purple one." But then Rias yelled in Akeno's ear, "That ring wasn't meant for you, you damn thief." Akeno understood that Rias was furious, but now that she had gotten close to Issei, no one was going to take it from her. Issei said to break the tension, "What if we go get some ice cream?" Rias moaned Akeno was going to explode. She accepted. There they see them eating. And Akeno, very sad, says to him, "Issei, I'm sorry I failed you, I forgot you." Issei calmly tells him, "It's okay, you did what you thought was right, I don't hold a grudge." Akeno couldn't take it anymore and hugged him, not caring that Rias pushed her away. Issei happily said, "If you want, we can be friends." Akeno couldn't take it anymore and poked him in the cheek. Rias pushed her away, but Akeno held on. After that, Issei walked Akeno home, and they go home and into the couple's room. Rias appears and Issei thinks, "Or they're not going to grape me." Rias throws herself at him like an animal and starts kissing his neck, saying excitedly, "I'm the only one who can taste you." Rias tears off her clothes and undresses, getting on all fours. She says in an imposing voice, showing him everything, including her private parts, "Touch my body, I'm your wife, it's necessary that you touch me." Issei was embarrassed, but Rias undresses him, gets on top of him and says, "Let's sleep naked so we feel better." Issei nods and they both cuddle calmly, trying to get closer. We see a couple sleeping very peacefully, naked and comfortably embraced. Rias opens her eyes and sees a very beautiful sight, Issei in a state of total serenity asleep between her enormous bare breasts. Rias smiles and kisses his forehead. Issei blushes and hugs her very tightly, as does Rias. Everything was peaceful. Until Issei innocently lowers his hands from her hips to her tremendous backside. She blushes and says affectionately, "Touch me, don't hold back." Issei calmly began to gently touch Rias' buttocks as if he were caressing them. Rias liked it very much. She was too calm. She closed her eyes. She was calm until she noticed something hard rubbing against her crotch. Rias looked up and lifted the blanket and saw, well, you know, she saw a huge thing, who knows how many centimeters long, poor Rias, rubbing against her private parts. And Rias said in surprise, "Wow, that's big, I'm scared, Issei is going to break me. I never thought Issei had one so long." But then she said, even sadder, "Poor Issei, he can't use it because of me, but maybe this will calm you down a little." And then we see Rias putting her hand under the blanket, touching it a little, and seeing that Issei was very sensitive at the tip. Then Issei instinctively began to suck on Rias' breasts, and Rias began to touch him. After a long time, they were about to begin. But Drake stopped them again, as pregnancy was dangerous. They were saddened but accepted it. At that moment, Rias checks the time and exclaims, "Issei, it's almost time to leave, we're going to be late." Then those two got dressed in seconds. Rias was in her ghostly form, only visible to Issei. He ran off without even saying goodbye, and Issei, already walking through the streets, said, I'm hungry and I didn't have breakfast and I don't have time to buy anything." But then Rias tells him, "Issei, calm down, I'll take care of it later." And they arrive at the academy, but Issei felt watched by Kaneko, who, as soon as she saw him, hugged him tightly even though Rias tried to let go. Later in class, Issei noticed Rosswise looking at him and said to Rias, I want to go home now. Rias understands and says seriously, calm down Issei, we'll just have patience. After that, Issei was going to go to the cafeteria, but he realized he didn't have his wallet, so he went without eating. Then a white-haired girl arrived and calmly sat on his lap. Rias wanted to remove her, but Issei calmed her down since he didn't want any trouble. Kaneko sheepishly says, Issei, can we go out for coffee on a date? Rias in Issei's mind screamed, No, never, he's mine, you damn bore. You cheated on him and now you want him back. Well, no, he's mine and nobody else's. And Issei, as your wife, I order you not to go out with anyone but me. Issei accepted and said sadly, No, Kaneko-chan, I can't. I have something to do, and left. Leaving Kaneko puzzled. Being kidnapped and learning something heartbreaking. We see a chestnut-haired man walking home peacefully, but a certain redhead in ghostly form was on his back, telling him in a calm but deranged voice, Issei, you will only be mine, and the only woman who will please you will be me. Issei laughs, and as they walk towards the house, Rias says to him, very embarrassed, Issei, do you think you could buy me some more clothes? I hardly have any elegant clothes since those boars kept mine. Issei understands and they go to an elegant clothing store, but they are watched by a dark-haired woman. Who says, puzzled, Who would Issei be buying women's clothes for? Not his mother, since the clothes look like they're for a young woman like me. And then it dawns on him and he says affirmatively, Surely those clothes are for me, they're not my style, but I don't judge. And he came out of the place where he was hiding and arrived at the store, and when he got there, he kissed the brunette, saying calmly, Hi honey, how nice of you to buy me clothes. Issei was left with a face like, what's going on here? But Rias inside Issei was about to explode, and I yelled in Akeno's ear, That's clothing for me, if you steal it, I'll kill you. Akeno ignored it and Issei paid. Outside, Rias was inside Issei moaning, but then Akeno said it was already. The moment Issei was struck, everything went black. Rias, who was inside Issei, also lost consciousness. The first to wake up was Rias. Through Issei's eyes, Rias saw the place and thought, I know this house, it belongs to that bitch Akeno, so she brought us here. If I touch my Issei, I'll kill her. But then they see Akeno arrive, very calm in her university uniform. Issei had already woken up, but he was gagged and couldn't speak. Then Akeno arrives and says in a seductive yet perverse tone, Ara Issei, it's been a while, hasn't it? And Elsie just Himio, as if saying to him, let me go please. But Akeno, as she walked seductively in black heels, said, Hello Issei, you might be wondering why I tied you up. Well, it's simple, I don't want you to escape. Because today I'm going to give you a special gift. Issei was scared and Rias was about to explode because she wanted to help but couldn't do anything since it was daytime and it could cause a commotion. So she watched. Akeno said to him while licking his cheek, Today we will be one beings. Rias was about to explode. Issei tried to calm her down. But then Akeno took off her blouse, revealing a very revealing bra. Rias said in Issei's head, My boobs are better, they're firm and only Issei has touched them, not like yours. From being touched so much they're already saggy. Akeno says seductively, Hey Issei, you like me, do you want me to show you more? Issei did nothing and Akeno was surprised. The Issei she knew would have fascinated her, but this one did nothing. Akeno said worriedly, Issei, it's okay if you don't like it. And Rias, who already had something planned, whispers in her ear in an imposing manner, Accept it, Akeno, you're already ugly. Your boar tits are sagging from being touched so much. You're so thin you look anorexic. You better leave me alone, Issei, if you don't want me to teach you respect here and now. When Rias said, Your boar tits are saggy from being touched so much, Akeno remembered when the guy who cheated on her did nothing but touch her breasts all day long. That hurt Akeno, since now she couldn't please her Issei. She screamed in tears, Shut up, that's not true. I'm the most beautiful woman in Issei's harem and his future wife. At that moment, Rias began to laugh in Akeno's ear. Ha 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 ha, what harems, you all left him. I was the only one who stayed with him and you're not beautiful. You used to be beautiful, now you're just a skinny girl with saggy, flabby breasts, who looks like a drug addict. Akeno felt offended and instinctively pulled down her skirt, revealing a huge thong. While slapping her butt, she said, Issei, look, you like it. Issei didn't say anything, and Akeno started to wiggle it to seduce him. I mean, she twerked for him, but Issei didn't do anything and Akeno said, Issei, what's wrong? Don't you like it if I'm twerking for you and I'm good at it? And Rias whispered to her. Issei doesn't like it because he doesn't like seeing cheap boors dance. He only likes seeing classy women like me. Understand that, and you'd better go back to your boyfriend. He really traded you for your friend, and that day you found them having hex in your bed. Oh, Akeno, don't mess around, accept it. Issei is married and I'm his wife. Akeno was crying because they were practically humiliating her, and then she lunged to kiss him. And so Issei tried to pull away, then a roar was heard and he saw her. It was Rias in the red dragon armor who grabbed him and said, "Don't mess with my partner, he's mine. You forgot that and now you'll have to deal with it." She threw a punch but someone stopped it. It was Issei. In the red dragon armor, he said seriously, "Don't fight, I only have eyes for you and I'll prove it to you." And then he takes off his helmet and kisses her in front of Akeno, who was crying. She started kissing him and they were both embracing. But then she separated them and, discovering something and strengthening ties. The one who separated them was Kaneko, who said while clarifying, "I knew it, Rias, you're alive." Rias answers and says seriously, "They don't care, and if you don't want me to kill you, stop bothering us." Issei said while grabbing his wife by the hips, "Well, I guess I have to face the truth." Kaneko asks, "How are you alive, or how do you have a body?" An explanation later. Akeno said, "Then Issei and I can go out for coffee." Rias said seriously and Rias said seriously, "Obviously not, he's my partner and I'm the only one who will go out with him." Issei said while hugging Rias, "It'll have to be another day because now I have things to do." And they opened the door and left hand in hand, leaving Akeno behind, who was sobbing, "Come back, my Issei, come back." And Kaneko sadly said to her, "Akeno, resign yourself." Rias was the only one who proved she was worthy of his love. She was capable of overcoming death, just to be with him. Akeno remained silent, frowning, but as the two walked away, Rias went inside Issei to avoid any scares, since almost everyone she knew believed she was dead. Issei said to Rias since it was already late, "Rias, can we go home to eat and sleep? It's getting late." Rias understands and says, "Of course, my Issei, let's rest. Today was a very busy day." Back at home, Issei and Rias began to recount everything that happened. And Lord Gremory calmly says, "Calm down, daughter, we'll take care of it." Rias smiles and the two go to the room. Issei says, "Rias, I'm going to take a bath, will you wait for me?" And Rias says in a wicked tone, while unbuttoning her blouse, "Issei is a couple who showers together, it helps us get closer." Issei said red as this rose, "I feel bad because I don't want it to happen because you know." Rias said casually, "Are you ashamed that your avocado is waking up right?" Issei said red as a tomato, "Yes, that makes me sad, and why are you saying it so calmly?" And Rias said as if nothing was wrong, "What's wrong with talking about that? We're a couple, it's natural for us to talk about that to get to know each other better." Issei understands and says sadly, "Then Rias will shower together." Rias didn't say anything this time, her eyes just turned dragon green. She picked him up and Issei thought, "Oh my god, I'm going to be graped." F for the brunette, he'll be graped until he's knocked out. Already in the bathroom, Rias acted as if nothing had happened. She took off her towel and said in a perverse way, "Issei, come to me, feast your eyes." Issei liked it and made a face of pleasure and said while a bulge formed in his towel, "Wow, what a beautiful sight." Then Rias said with a wicked giggle, "Issei, come here, your body can't take it anymore." Issei looked down and saw his raised. It looked like a bucking sword ready to cut meat. Issei blushes and covers his privates and says, "Rias, how embarrassing, I'm sorry, I'll leave now so you don't feel uncomfortable." Rias grabs him and says calmly, "Don't go, my Issei, you're my partner. And you shouldn't be ashamed of what's happening to your body. It doesn't bother me at all, on the contrary I find it cute, since that's the ultimate proof that you find me attractive." Issei blushes and says embarrassed, Rias." Rias began to remove the towel from the brunette with her slender hand. When she had removed it, she stood in front of him and said while grabbing a soap and a bucket of water, "Please clean my body with your hands, I want to feel you." Issei understood and hugged her, and he left his you-know right. in that state rubbing against her private parts, and the brunette, out of pure instinct, began to rub it against Rias' private area. Rias barely felt it and thought, "Oh yes, it feels so good down there, how warm Issei's avocado is. It seems to fit perfectly with my part." She said to him in an excited voice, "Issei, please increase your speed." The chestnut-haired man realizes this, stops and says apologetically, "Rias, I'm sorry I got carried away." Rias said as she lay on her side and raised one leg, showing him more of her privates. "Come here, I want pleasure 7W7. Issei understands excitedly and lies down. He attaches himself, grabs her leg, and begins to lovingly rub his private parts while holding her thigh. They were in a state of total serenity. Until someone opened the door. And? Discussing having a conversation and reaching an agreement. They were just minding their own business, touching each other, until someone suddenly opened the door. Issei stopped and turned red as a tomato, and Rias did too. The one who opened the door was Akeno, who said imposingly, "Because you're the only one who can satisfy him, I'm his wife too." Rias stood up and said with an angry face, "Hey you bitch, why are you sticking your nose where it doesn't concern you? My boyfriend and I were just relaxing, caressing each other, until you came along and ruined the moment." Issei stood up impulsively and said, "Please don't fight." He couldn't finish speaking because Akeno said to him with a wicked face, "Hey Issei, look at this cannon ready for combat. You better come here and shoot my castle already." Issei instantly looks down and sees his, in that state. Issei turned bright red and could only stutter. He stood behind Rias, who said angrily, "Hey Akeno, don't bother me. Stop messing with my partner if you don't want me to kill you." The dark-haired girl was startled, but she wasn't going to let herself be defeated, so in seconds she took off her clothes, threw herself onto the bathroom floor. On her side like Rias was, and raised her leg, revealing her neglected part. "Come here, my beloved, for here there is a quality body, unlike that stupid blood-haired one." What? Issei did absolutely nothing and paid no attention, and Rias spoke. But Rias spoke up. "Look Akeno, don't make a fool of yourself and please leave peacefully and don't humiliate yourself. I'm not saying this as an enemy, but as the friends we once were." Akeno remained silent, but through tears of anger and pain she spoke, as she had many conflicting emotions. "If we're friends, why won't you let me go out with my Issei? The engagement hasn't been broken yet, we're still his wives. Why won't you accept my apology? I know I made a mistake and I accepted it. Why won't you let me start over with him?" And Rias said, now more seriously, "Akeno, it's simple. You and the others failed at something very simple, remember that." Akeno remembered what she swore the day Rias died. And she said, crying, "I know I was immature, that instead of helping Issei like he did for me, I just abandoned him and replaced him with an idiot who damaged my body." And Rias said with a serious face, "Look, your last brain cell finally worked. You've realized you've ruined everything and there's no going back." Akeno began to cry because now the only man she loved was with another woman and she would never get him back. Then Issei telepathically tells Rias, "Please don't be rude, I don't want to hurt her." Rias said, "Issei, I only told him the truth, whether he likes it or not." Issei said a little sadly, "At least let me comfort him." Rias says seriously, "Okay, but I'll be watching. I don't want them to take away my beloved husband, my most precious thing." She said the last part in a Yandere tone, very similar to Yuno's voice when she goes crazy. Issei puts a towel over himself and gets down to Akeno's level. He says, putting his hand on her, "Akeno, don't cry, let's go home." Akeno glances out of the corner of her eye and says, "This is my moment, I'm not going to waste it." He throws himself down, gets on top of him, kisses him like that. Issei begs him to let go. At that moment Rias throws herself at him, screaming, reaching an agreement and growing closer and asking for a favor. Rias lunges at her, yelling, "Get off me, you damn bore," and knocks her down. She then starts kissing her partner Issei. They join in. Akeno tries to push her away, but Rias clings to her. Just then Rias and Issei's parents enter, separate Akeno and help her get dressed. Issei and Rias also get dressed and chat. In the end, Akeno tells Rias not to approach Issei in such an aggressive way and to sort out their problems. Afterward, Akeno leaves and whispers something only Rias heard. "Issei, you will be mine no matter what it takes." Rias whispered, "Over my dead body, bitch." Back in the room, the couple was uneasy, especially Issei, who was afraid that the situation would escalate. But Rias, like an excellent wife, pushed him onto the bed, undressed him, climbed on top of him and said, whilst hugging him, "Don't worry, my Issei, I'll take care of you." Issei hugged himself and began to doze off. Rias turned around and the brunette nestled between her breasts. Rias said while affectionately stroking his head, "You're stressed and I know what relieves your stress the most." Issei said, red as a tomato, "Rias, can I really touch your?" Rias enthusiastically said, "Oh yes." And Issei stood behind her and grabbed her enormous breasts. His hands weren't able to grasp them, but he began to touch Rias. He started to shiver as she felt very comfortable with her partner touching her. The brunette was getting drowsy as it was very relaxing to smell his wife's scent and feel protected. In her sculpted body, the redheads was very calm. They were too comfortable and snuggled up together. Issei was no longer touching her chest, but was hugging her hips. Rias was very happy. They were about to enter REM sleep. But then someone opened the door, demonstrating the power. We see a chestnut-haired man sleeping with something very soft on his face. It was his wife's breast. Rias liked sleeping with him in that position because it allowed her to rest better. When she slept with Issei, her breasts rested more comfortably, not on the mattress springs. It was like having a heater warming her body. They slept peacefully. It was early morning. They were embraced. And Rias had already undressed Issei completely, as she didn't like feeling those rags. She couldn't feel her beloved properly, so she simply removed them. They were calmly embracing, sweating from the thick blankets. They were very peaceful, listening to each other's quiet breathing, but suddenly someone opened the door. Issei didn't even flinch as he was very peaceful and felt very protected with his partner on top of him. The only one who heard was Rias, as she has very good hearing. She pretended to be asleep, not wanting to wake Issei. The one who opened the door was Sirzechs. Rias telepathically told him, "What do you want, brother? Can't you see I'm sleeping with my Issei? It's our only moment of privacy and intimacy since we can't merge, so speak, and don't waste my time." Sirzechs calmly said, "Well look, some rogue demons escaped, and we need the Red Emperor to kill them." Rias said seriously as she moved to awaken her Issei. "Okay, but there isn't just one Red Emperor anymore, there are two. I am the second one, when I became one with Issei. I also absorbed Drake because of the contract I made with him." Issei had already woken up but was still half asleep, and as soon as he saw Rias' chest, he began to suck on it. Rias is surprised and says, in a very tender voice as she separates Issei's head from her chest, "How cute, Issei, but it's not the time. Later when we finish the job, I'll let you enjoy me as much as you want." Issei woke up and saw Rias. He got up thinking they were alone in the room, so he got affectionate. He hugged his wife and whispered in her ear while moving his hand down there, you know the way it sounds. "Honey, what's wrong?" "I'm sleepy, what's happening? What are we going to do? You're so soft down there." Rias said, a little excited, since Issei was brushing his hands against hers. "Issei, after you play, we have visitors and we must do something, okay?" Issei turns around and sees Sirzechs laughing. The chestnut-haired boy turns red as a tomato since he was naked with one hand in the wrong place and in front of his brother-in-law. He couldn't speak, but Rias climbed on top of him and said, "Calm down, it's natural, it doesn't bother me anymore. You were just showing your love in a more insistent way." Issei, now calmer, asked while covering himself with the blanket, "So what do we have to do?" Sirzechs began to explain and Issei understood. He said while kissing Rias on the forehead, "Rias, I'm going back, don't worry." Rias responded with a laugh as she stood up and dressed in another cute academy uniform since she didn't mind wearing Issei's clothes. "We'll go, since I'm the red dragon and you're my partner." Issei smiles and says, "Well, Rias, let's go." Issei activates his armor. "And you too." And the two of them leave. Once there, they see them. They were renegade demons. Honestly, I'm not going to describe a super fight because these opponents are weak and don't really deserve it. Anyway, let's continue. Rias and Issei launched themselves forward. They were both synchronized as they knew what the other would do since they were one being. The fight ended with this deafening sound and an explosion. That couple was unstoppable. And after that, they both took off their helmets and shared a tender kiss. As a sign of acceptance, that deranged couple didn't care that there was a field full of blood and ruins. While they kissed, they strengthened their bond and joined the booster gear. Without a seal, meaning they were releasing energy for their pure and true love. The two of them had their minds connected, so Issei and Rias talked. And Issei said, Rias, you're the best partner, we have no rival. Rias nods and clings to Issei. And he says to her, Rias, I'm not sleepy, so I ask you, dear lady, would you like to go on a date night with me? We can go discreetly, since no one will recognize us. Rias said enthusiastically and cheerfully. Yes, my esteemed knight. The two separated and removed their armors and walked slowly hand in hand as the night in its darkness and mystery sheltered them. A date night. The couple walked peacefully hand in hand, talking nonsense and about their future, and Issei said, laughing, Hey Rias, you look good in my clothes. I think we should dress alike more often. I don't know, it seems cute to me. Rias happily said, Of course, my beloved Issei, I like him quite a lot. The two were walking along peacefully until they saw a beautiful meadow, and they sat down to chat about relationship stuff out of nowhere. He put it on his chest. And the chestnut-haired man tenderly says to her, Rias, I love you, you're the light of my eyes, and I ask you, my beloved girlfriend, do you want to go from being my girlfriend to my fiancé, and then my wife, and be with me until the end? Because in you I find more than a girlfriend or partner, a friend, a companion who encourages me and who I know will always be with me no matter the adversities we face. Rias was shocked by such beautiful words, as it was exactly what she wanted to express. Rias responded affectionately, Issei, yes, that's my answer. I've been sure of it since the day you saved me from that damn phoenix. Yes, I will be your beloved wife, companion, and partner. Then those two share a sweet kiss. As Rias wept tears of joy she wanted to express. Then they let go and the brunette asks Rias, Hey Rias, I'm hungry. Do you want to go to a restaurant for dinner? No one will judge us, it's nighttime. Rias happily said, Yes, but I don't want to go to a fancy restaurant. What the heck, I've never liked that. I admit it, I don't like dressing up, wearing makeup, or anything like that. Issei told her, Calm down, I don't like that either. In fact, I got really bored at the faction meetings, so from now on just be yourself and dress however you like, and I won't judge you because I love you, and to love is to accept the other as they are. Rias said, surprised, Thank you, Issei, thank you for accepting me as I am. Issei said, That's love, and let's go eat. Because I'm starving. Rias makes and part. At the Issei restaurant they ordered some extra-large barbecue wings, and while they ate peacefully, Rias said happily, her face and hands covered in barbecue sauce, No wonder you ate so fast, Issei, being a dragon makes you really hungry. Issei calmly replied, his face and hands covered in sauce. If you laugh exactly and look at us covered in sauce, that's affection. Rias laughed and said, Yes, exactly, we look like children. Issei laughed. The two were eating peacefully, in their own world, oblivious to everything else. But then another couple looked like a pair of bullies, and the girl said to Rias, Hey tomboyish big-breasted girl, stop thinking you're a man and dress properly like me. Rias turns around angrily and says, since Rias is a woman of strong character, very strong and doesn't let anyone bother her, Issei is very calm and tells her, let's go, don't pay attention to her. But Rias ignored it and said angrily, first of all, clothes don't have a gender and I'm just as feminine as you, maybe even more so. Besides, stop judging my bust size. It's obvious from your eyes that you want them, you judgmental bitch who criticizes without any basis. The girl blushed and covered her chest since it was small, and the girl's boyfriend stood up and said, shut up, fake tits, and let me check it out. And I bring my hand to his chest, but Issei gets up and grabs my hand. And he says seriously, he didn't seem like that calm guy who asked his girlfriend to leave. Don't touch my wife. If you touch a single hair on my beloved's head, I won't be responsible for your actions. The boy tries to push Issei. But bam, a holy punch to the face knocks him down and Rias shoves that fist in and says, that's what you get for bothering my sweetheart. You'd better leave now if you don't want to die. Those two are going to leave in a huff, and Rias and Issei sat down to eat victorious, growing closer and showing affection. Rias and Issei ate peacefully while talking psychologically, and the conversation went like this. Issei, hey Rias, I'm kind of bored. What should we do? Should we go to the movies or what? Rias said calmly. Yes, that's fine, but what should we watch? Issei replies, I don't know what's good XD. Rias laughs, they pay the bill and head to the movie theater. At the theater, Issei and Rias start watching a random movie, any movie you want. That movie was super boring, but suddenly it got really hot. During that movie, Issei and Rias said in unison while making a perverted face, "Oh, this is getting good." While that scene was playing, Issei was thinking, what would it feel like to be there, to become one with a woman, to give her all your love, and to unite for eternity? Rias, who knew what Issei was thinking, told him, "I thought so too, but it's dangerous for the pregnancy to go through." Issei understands, and Rias told him, "I sincerely forgive me, but one day we will be able to unite into one being." They look at each other and then they kiss, just as the protagonists of the movie shared a kiss of love. After that, they left the movie theater looking like a cute couple in love. They went for a walk in the woods where they tripped over a branch, and Issei and Rias fell on top of each other. Issei ended up on top of Rias, his face between her enormous breasts. And the worst part was Rias wasn't wearing a bra, so they were nice and soft and warm. Issei tried to get away, but Rias hugged him and said, "Rest and enjoy your wife's breasts." The brunette relaxed and said, as his brown eyes slowly closed, "Thank you, Rias, I love you, you are the best woman in the world." Rias smiles and opens a magic circle. Back in the couple's room, things started to heat up and they hugged. And then they started undressing. And once they were ready, they hugged each other and the brunette's titans started to awaken. And Rias said, already turned on since he had it brushing against her flower, "You know, I call it that so that Wattpad doesn't get mad. Let's not endure it any longer, come to me." Then the brunette kissed her and the rest is pretty self-explanatory, right? They became one, and when they did, something peculiar happened. A difficult mission and achieving a goal. They were both in that position. That demonstrated the eternal union of two beings. When they kissed, they became one, and suddenly a green light enveloped them. And Drake spoke since both were surprised by so much power emanating from them. When Rias became a dragon, my power was divided, but when you united in mating, my power was completely reunited. They both smiled and understood. The chestnut-haired boy was so comfortable that he started sucking on Rias' breast. Rias made him more comfortable with her hand, and with the other clung to him more tightly. Issei was so comfortable sleeping on top of Rias and sucking on her breast that saliva even started coming out of his mouth. In short, he fainted, or rather, he was deprived of saliva. Rias found it funny because it was the purest representation of tranquility and trust towards her. She relaxed so much that she almost fell asleep. Rias was about to fall completely asleep. But then someone turned on the light in the room, making her jump in fright and also waking the brunette, who jumped as well because Rias screamed as if she had seen the devil himself. Issei jumped and wasn't wearing anything underneath. I mean, he had his sword exposed, lol. Rias had already covered herself with the blanket since she had already seen her brother. Issei sees Sirzechs and quickly covers himself because he didn't want them to see his little thing. Yeah, right, little thing. He quickly got behind his partner and best friend, and also his girlfriend. Issei was speechless and red as a tomato. He could barely speak, but Rias, who was the tough one in the relationship, said with a face and voice that scared Sirzechs, "Sirzechs, pray that what you're going to make us do is worth it, because I'm fed up with you always ruining the moment when my sweet husband and I are finally relaxing after a long day. Like I said, pray that this mission is worthy of the wake-up call you gave us. Because if not, after the beating I'm going to give you, they won't recognize you even with a blood test or by reconstructing that fried egg face of yours. You've been warned," she said the last part while pointing at him. He understood, and the couple, as usual, got dressed and left. Once there, they saw him. He was a rogue demon who had captured a dragon with a spell and used its power for evil. Rias and Issei looked at each other. They pulled out their armor and let the fighting begin. The two lunged and began. The fight was powerful and difficult because the guy regenerated and so did the dragon. Rias and Issei came up with a crazy idea, but it was their last resort. They would have a Picasso fight at full power to see what would happen. Then the two increased their power to such a degree that both armors reached the celestial level. And they both said it was time, and they both kissed, and at that moment you hear, "What?" And the two, still embracing, are launched like projectiles. The level of power was so great that their armor shattered, and boom, all that can be seen is a crimson beam and an explosion that fills the place. Suddenly we see a couple emerge from a smokestack covered in bruises and injuries, their armor broken. Rias said while laughing, "Wow, that was powerful XD. Issei replies while removing the stones, "We almost died, but oh well, let's go, I'm hungry XD." Author that Issei always thinking about eating. Rias laughs and the two of them limp away, holding onto each other's shoulders to avoid falling as they were weak. But suddenly that dying man touches Ria's butt. If you've seen the anime, you know that the female armor is very revealing and her butt is visible. And she's well endowed, so the guy slapped her butt and said while trying to knock her down, "You'll be mine, you'll be my woman." Even though he was weak, she kicked him so hard that his head exploded and he died, and he said, "Rias, please cover yourself more so these incidents don't happen again." Rias nods and says in a wicked tone of voice, "Yes, darling, but the only one who can touch my butt is you." Issei looks at her and removing the armor from his hand gives her a tremendous slap on the buttocks, saying in a hot tone, "Oh, what delicious hams, and it's all for me, right?" Rias also said in a wicked tone, "Don't doubt it, my love, because you know that the only man I will give myself to is you, and I swore it to you, my love, and you know that our love is forever." Issei responded by kissing her and hugging her hips. Issei continued walking with difficulty. As his leg was injured, they had little strength to make a magic circle, so they went to a hotel. Once there, they were dirty and their clothes were worn out, and the hotel staff refused to serve them, believing they were vagrants. Without money and unworthy of the hotel, but Rias spoke and Issei made a scared face and thought, "Oh, this lady is angry." Rias spoke, "Please don't disrespect us. If we're in your section, it's because we have the purchasing power to pay for a room in your hotel. Not to look pretty, I kindly ask you to stop judging hardworking people by their clothes. I kindly ask you not to be nosy and rude and to do your job." The woman remained silent and with a look of shame handed over the room keys. Issei paid. And they entered. Issei thought, "Wow, what a nice woman I found, well now to sleep." And the couple went to tend to their wounds and rest peacefully after a long day, a quiet and healing moment. Back in the room, the couples very calmly took off their clothes, well, more accurately, Rias undressed him, saying, "Calm down, we're a couple, so like I've told you several times, being a couple means we have to shower together to strengthen our relationship." The brunette replied while taking off his towel, "It's just that I don't want you to see my little thing." Rias said, laughing, "Seriously, Issei, why are you embarrassed about that? We're a couple, and besides, we've already bonded, so don't be embarrassed to show me naked in front of me. If you want, I'll show myself to you." Rias casually drops her towel. And he saw it, it was a beautiful body, and now, because of the battles, it was even more defined. Issei tried to concentrate on something else, and you can imagine what happened, right? His Titan awakened, and since Issei has a big one, well, you know, XD Rias made a face like, "Or how nice," and started walking while down there he looked like a leg. And then she hugged him and said, "Don't be embarrassed, let's go in together." The chestnut-haired man, now brave, grabs her, surprising Rias. He carries her like a knight from a novel, and he says to her in a harmonious and delicate voice, "My princess, I won't let her walk. So that your lovely legs don't suffer. You deserve to rest, my beautiful partner." Rias looks at him with a lovely face that expressed happiness and tranquility. She kisses him and playing along says, "An excellent kiss, my elegant gentleman." They both laugh and get into the tub. Once in the tub, Rias and Issei's bruises and cuts began to heal. Out of nowhere, they started talking about wanting to have children, what that entailed, how they would be good parents, and how they would be happy. Issei said as he turned red and grabbed the soap, "Hey Rias, can I wash your back?" Rias said an obvious and cheerful, "Yes." Issei began rubbing her back and Rias moaned, "Yes, Issei, right there, just the way I like it." Issei turned bright red and continued, then it was Rias' turn, and she did it as best she knew how, that is, with her enormous breasts covered in soap. And she said flirtatiously, "Okay, my cute Issei, relax." And she started cleaning and Issei started to relax. But then someone knocked on the door, scaring the couple. A mission and a well-deserved vacation. Rias and Issei were bathing peacefully, they were healing peacefully. Rias washed his back. And Issei was smiling, since he was too relaxed. Then someone opened the door. You can probably guess who it is, right? It's Sirzechs, who entered the bathroom when those two were together in the tub, and Rias said in an angry tone that she really wanted to rest. "And now you won't even let us rest, brother." Sirzechs responds enthusiastically, "Sorry, but evil doesn't rest, and besides, I pay you well." Rias nods, but Issei says as he stretches to start throwing punches, "Yeah, but what happened?" Sirzechs says while adjusting his suit. Other guys, members of the Chaos crew, attacked our territory again, and well, we have to go and screw them over so they don't mess with our plans. The couple still in the tub look at each other with a dude seriously expression, and the two of them put on their armor and they go to the combat zone. With a face that says, what a drag, but hey, we live well with this, so no problem. Already in the combat zone, Rias and Issei. They see each other and begin. Those two guys who had two sacred weapons, and one guy said to Rias in a perverted voice, "Wow, what a body you have, baby. I can't wait to capture you so I can play with you every day, hot baby." Rias couldn't even react because Issei roared. He was filled with anger because nobody else besides him could talk like that about his woman. All that was seen was a pool of blood and an Issei saying, Nobody talks about my Rias like that and gets away with it." Rias looks at him, but the other boy is going for her with his loaded weapon. But Rias, like Issei, pulls out her cannons and Crimson Rain. Issei and Rias broke up, and as they were about to leave they saw a tremendous monster. And Rias and Issei are all screwed up. They say in unison, "Oh, come on." And they put on their helmets and armor. And start throwing punches, you bucking bastards. After who knows how many hours of throwing punches, we see Rias and Issei, all beaten up, coming down from the sky, and Issei saying as he collapsed to the ground, "Rias, we need a vacation." Rias, raising her bruised thumb, said, "Yes, but let's go home, I want to sleep." Issei nods and leaves, using his weight to counterbalance himself so he doesn't fall. A well-deserved vacation. After a tremendous fight, we see a redhead and a brunette walking weakly towards home, having finally arrived after the fight. Around 8 in the mornings, Rias weakly knocked on the door of her home, and the one who opened it was Issei's mother, who, upon seeing the couple so battered and dying, he quickly called Venelana, who arrived instantly and prepared a bed and bandages. Once there, the couple said in unison while drinking herbal tea, "We almost died, we want a vacation." Sirzechs, who had arrived and seeing himself cornered, said resigningly, since the redhead gave him a murderous look. He accepted as soon as they gave him the yes. We see a very beautiful scene. And that is, we see Rias and Issei falling onto the bed relaxed, with the brunette resting his head on her stomach, both of them looking noticeably tired. They went into the bathroom and Rias said to him, in a tired voice, "Issei, now more than ever I understand you, and I understand that tiredness in your eyes. I'm sorry I couldn't help myself." Issei kisses her on the cheek and says in a tender voice, "Even if you don't believe it, you helped me. More than you know, you were my light. You were what drove me when I couldn't go on anymore. Seeing you smile and knowing that if I trained I would protect you, and seeing you smile made me keep going." Rias responded with a kiss on the lips. Issei, the brunette, said while playfully slapping Rias' butt and hugging her fiercely, "And besides, if I was still alive after training, I'd get my reward, which was sleeping next to my president." Rias blushed, feeling nostalgic when he called her president, and said while hugging him in a playful voice, "Oh, flirtatious one." Issei laughs and the two go to shower peacefully. Once in the tub, while Issei was rubbing Rias' back, his hand slipped and ended up grabbing one of Rias' large breasts. Rias moaned and said while squaring Issei's hand, "Oh, Issei, don't be so rough, my boobs are sensitive." Issei said, red as a tomato, as he removed his hand from Rias' chest. "No, Rias, my hand just slipped. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you." Rias said in a serious yet somewhat amused tone. "Did I tell you to take your hand away? Come on, touch me, I want to feel your hands on my breasts. Issei, understand." And he began to calmly touch Rias' breasts. After that, the couple quietly went to rest and sleep, but they didn't realize they were being watched by a black-haired girl who said with a Yandere face, "Rias, you'll pay for this, and Issei, you will be mine."
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.